In this video, we will look at the basic of radicals. A radical you may have also heard as a square root. I'm going to start with an easy one, the square root of 36, which you should be able to do in your head. But I'm going to show you the process so if it gets to a number that you don't know, you will be able to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is use something that I used in elementary school, which is a factor tree. So I need to come up with two numbers that multiply together to give me 36. So the two numbers I came up with were 4 and 9. 4 times 9 is 36. Now 4 is not prime, so I need to keep going. So I divide it and I get 2 and 2. And 2 is prime, so I can stop. 9 is 3 and 3. And those are prime. The rule for radicals for square roots is I need a pair. So similar to when somebody gets married, so you have two people, but they take one last name. So these 2's are going to be represented by 1, 2 on the outside of the radical. This pair of 3 is going to be represented as 1, 3 on inside the radical. 2 times 3 is 6. So my answer is 6, and there's no numbers left over, so it is just 6. And hopefully you remember that 36 is a perfect square, and the square root of it is 36, because 6 times 6 is 36. Okay, let's look at another one, 48. I can divide this by 4 and 12. 4 becomes 2 and 2. 12 becomes 3 and 4. 3 is prime. I need to break down the 4. 2 and 2. So I have one pair of 2's. So 2 comes outside. I have another pair of 2's, so another 2 comes outside. And 3 doesn't have anyone. So similar to when your mom said you couldn't play unless there was somebody outside, didn't want you outside by yourself, oh, you got to stay home. So the 3's at home. 2 times 2 is 4, so it's 4, the square root of 3. I can double check to make sure I did the math right by squaring these items. 4 squared is 16, and when you square a square root, it goes away, so it's just 3, and the answer is 48, which is the original number that I was trying to break down. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple seconds to start this one to see if you have figured it out. Okay? If you're still not ready, you can hit pause. 150, I know because it ends in a 0, I can divide it by 10. So 10 and 15. 10 breaks down to 2 and 5, which are both prime. And 15 is 3 and 5, which are prime. In this case, I have a pair of 5's, so 5 comes outside. 2 and 3 don't have any matches, so they go inside. And my answer is 5, the square root of 6. 5 times 5 is 25, times 6 is 150. Now let's look at 153. A trick that I learned in elementary school was that if I add the digits, so 1 plus 5 is 6 plus 3 equals 9, if they total a number that is divisible by 9, then they are divisible by 9. So 153 divided by 9, 9 goes into 15 one time, and it goes into 63 7 times. So 9 and 17. 17 is prime. I break down the 9 into 3 and 3, a pair of 3's, and 17 stays home. Okay, this one's slightly different. This is the cube root. In the last one, I was taking the square root, so in order for it to come outside, I needed a pair. This time, how many do you think I need for it to come outside? If you said 3, you would be correct. So I break this down into 10 times 25 because it ended in 0, so I know it's divisible by 10. That is 2 and 5, and 25 is 5 and 5. Here's my triple 3's. I have triple 5's. I have 3 5's, so 5 comes outside. I don't have enough 2's, so 2 stays home. And if I did 5 to the third power, that would be 125 times 2 is 250. Okay, so now that we covered how to do the roots, let's look about how to write them in a different form. 36 to the half really means the square root of 36, which we know is 6. 27 to the 1/3, the 3 means I want the cubic root. So when I factor out 27, I get 9 times 3. The 9 breaks down to 3 times 3. I have triple 3s, so my answer is 3. Looking at a more complex one, the denominator tells me the root, so I want the 4th root of the number 81. And a lot of times you will see that they cube the 81, but I like to say they cube till the end, so I like to take the 4th root of 81 and then cube it. So I'm going to write it that way because I find it a little bit simpler. Okay, so 4th root means I need 4 of a kind. So 81 is 9 times 9. 9 breaks down to 3 and 3. 3 and 3. I have 4 3s and nothing left over. So the 4th root of 81 is 3. I then need to cube that, which is 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. Okay, let's look at one more of those. Let's say I had 32 to the 3/2 power. The denominator tells me the root, so I want the square root of 32. When I take square root, it means I want pairs of numbers. 16 times 2, the 2 is prime. 8 times 4, 8 is 4 and 2. Break down the 4, and that gives me 2 and 2. And this 4 is 2 and 2. One pair of 2s, another pair of 2s, and I made a mistake. Oh, sorry. 16 is 4 times 4. So I have one pair of 2s, another pair of 2s, and a 2 left over. So 2, the square root of 2, and then I'm going to triple that. So that means 2 the square root of 2 times 2 the square root of 2 times 2 the square root of 2, which ends up being 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, the square root of 8. And you can really break down 8. 8 is 2 times 4, which is 2 and 2. I have a pair of 2s, so another 2 comes out. It's 16, and 2 stays home. Sorry about my division mistake. I hope this helped you as an intro to finding the square root of numbers and writing the square roots using fraction exponents.